Hey everybody, Captain Foley with you again today. Today we're doing our Star Trek movie review of Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. And just because Star Trek III saw the death of the Enterprise, my favorite character, I thought it only fitting that I wear my USS Enterprise schematic shirt as inspiration for me. Like I said, the Enterprise is my favorite character, and she just got destroyed, killed in the last episode, so um, yeah, it's a sad day. Anyway, let's get this underway. Now, Star Trek IV is one of my favorites and also one of my least favorites. And the reason for that, this is the one that everybody knows. You say Star Trek movie, and you get dumb blondes, whatnot, going, is that the one with the whales? Yes, it's the whale one. We hate hearing that. It's the whale one. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. This, of course, dedicated to the memory of the Challenger astronauts. Yes, it's the whale one. And it's a good movie for the simple fact that it has equal parts humor, action, and it has all the Star Trek elements from episodes that we love. It's got time travel, which is awesome. All the characters in these movies, in this movie, have a chance to shine. They all have their respective roles and great parts. Sorry, I shouldn't hit the button there. Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. So we're going to get into that now. Let's get at it. Another thing I like about this movie is the the opening credits here. The music is very uplifting and very whimsical. Very, it's non-Star Trek, but it is Star Trek. But it gives you kind of an idea of what's to come. An epic adventure that's fun for everybody. It's a great family movie to watch. It's also a great intro for people that don't know Star Trek or don't necessarily like Star Trek. So in those respects, it's good, and it's one of my favorites for that reason. And like I said, all the characters have their little chance to shine. They've all got their respective roles. They're not background set dressing kind of idea. So that's one of the things I like most about it. But yes, the whole fact that it's the whale one. Yes, it's the whale one. Call it what it is. It's Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home. But everybody knows this movie. Well, not everybody. I'd say a fairly good percentage of non-Star Trek fans know this movie, and that's good. It gives them an insight into who the characters actually are, because like I said, the characters each get their own little time to shine, and that's awesome, because it's what was lacking from some of the other movies. But having said that, let's get underway with this, shall we? Of course, here comes the probe, which looks like a giant cigar with a ball underneath it.
What do you make of it? It appears to be a probe, Captain. From an intelligence unknown to us. Continue transmitting universal peace and hello in all known languages. Give me Starfleet command.
And it's cool to see other starships and other captains and other crews.
This is USS Saratoga patrolling
I think
6.5 neutral zone.
it would make for an interesting Star Trek series to have like a different crew, not a different crew every week, but like 3 or 4 crews maybe from different time periods, that each week it's a different adventure from one of the different crews. So you get used to the crews, but it's skipping back and forth between who, like which crew you're watching. I think that'd be very interesting. And look at this. This is Klingon footage. Where are these cameras again?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Where are these cameras that were on the bridge of the Enterprise with the Klingon footage tape at the bottom? And it looked like, this is my issue with Star Trek 2 or Star Trek 3 when they're watching the engine room flight recorder visuals. Where are those cameras? And oh, sorry, I gotta quiet while the death is occurring. My girl. It's pretty sad. So the whole thing with this happens in all TV shows, all movies, when they show footage from security cameras. A lot of it's just used footage from the movie, so you see like director's cuts of what it would be, and that's just not something I've really understood. Like, where were those cameras? Why are we getting close-ups on things? Just a little pet peeve. This is also really cool to see a trial, a Federation trial. So, another thing that kind of always threw me, why are they still on Vulcan? Why haven't they sent a ship from the Federation to pick them up? How did Sarek, who was on Vulcan when they arrived, get to this trial and the Federation not say, why don't you come with them? We need them here to put them on trial. They left them on Vulcan for some reason. It's kind of strange. Because Kirk just said they're in the 3rd month of their Vulcan exile. You can't tell me that the Federation doesn't have ships at Vulcan, first of all. Second of all, wouldn't send a ship to get them when they violated, well, Kirk's violated 9, he's got 9 United Federation violations. Why are they still there? And why are the Vulcans wearing gnome hats? Are they garden gnomes now? That's always bugged me too. That just looks really retarded. Well, they're like elves. They do have pointy ears. Maybe they're good archers too. I don't know. Sorry, man. I love Star Trek. I'm one of the biggest Star Trek fans you'll ever meet. But even I have to poke fun at a few things in this. You can't, make fun of JJ without making fun of the real Star Trek. We're going to do this JJ films too at some point in this, but once all these ones are done, I'm going to go with the JJ ones. I've also considered, because somebody requested it, that I do the director's cut of the motion picture, because there's extra footage and whatnot in there that the director wanted us to see, and improve visual effects. So, once these are all done, I might go back and do the motion picture special edition director's cut. Sorry, guys. I'm dying here. And here we are with Spock's testing. The computer asked him, how does he feel? Could he say angry? Could he say happy? Could he say anything? And it would say correct. Okay. Right here, this gentleman right here with the funky beard, or funky mustache. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's a Deltan. In Star Trek, the motion picture, when Ilia came on board, the Ilian women are bald. Or the Deltan women, the Ilian women. Oh my goodness, the Deltan women are bald. The Deltan men, that's how they look. They have the white hair, usually long, bushy eyebrows, and then the facial hair. The president of the Federation in Star Trek 6 is also a Deltan. I've seen a comic book where it shows Delta, and on the planet everybody's bald, even the men. That's not correct at all. This is actually a Deltan male. They all look similar to this. So, not a lot of people know that. Thought I'd let you guys know. And the actor that plays Admiral Cartwright, most of you might know, in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, he is Sisko's dad. So, Star Trek likes to recycle its actors, which is kind of cool, because it's kind of like a game as to remember what other episodes they were in or what other characters they played. So that's a little interesting fact that he actually was Sisko's dad. And there's also a gentleman here, I'll point him out when I see him, but he's also in Star Trek 5. He plays like a alien with like pointy ears in this one. He's in the control room here. And in Star Trek 5, he's one of Cybok's men. He's a bald guy. But I'll point him out as soon as I see him, okay? and I hate to say this, I know they have 3 months to modify this ship, but this bridge is totally, 100% different than the bridge in Star Trek 3 of this same ship. I don't know how they did it, but it's something to point out. And why are they making them take this bird of prey back to Earth? That just seems sketchy to me. You think the Federation would have more resources that they could send a ship to pick them up. And here too, Robin Curtis Savick here.
Yes, sir.
I would have liked to see more of her. It would have been cool if she came on this mission with them.
Sir,
But
I have not had the opportunity to
at the same time, I can see why they didn't include her in this mission, or why they dropped her from the franchise.
He saved Spock.
Although I've heard a lot of people complain that they would have liked to see more of her, and she herself, the actress, would have loved to be in more Star Trek movies. So
Good day, Captain.
it's kind of interesting that she's staying on Vulcan. When she was scheduled to the Grissom for a scientific research mission, you'd think she'd want to get back to the Federation, come back with them. Unless they're sending a ship for her, but not for them. I don't know. It's just... This line here, when Spock talks about his attire, just listen to this.
Also, I must apologize for my attire. I seem to have misplaced my uniform.
Station.
Where he says, I seem to have misplaced my uniform. Kirk kind of does that nod, like, or that smile. And in the book, it states that he just didn't have the heart to tell Spock that, yeah, you died. You weren't wearing a uniform. The uniform was on the Enterprise, which got destroyed. Because Spock was in, of course, his burial robe, which was the black one, which was left in the torpedo tube. So Spock doesn't have all his memories back and whatnot, and Kirk didn't have the heart to tell him that, yeah, you know, your uniform was on the Enterprise, which is gone now. So bird of preys are cool. I love them with the wings up. Looks so cool. Either wings up or straight out. When they're down in attack formation, it's not the best look for them, I don't think. I like them when the wings are up like that. I think that looks really cool. And look at the size of this friggin' probe. You see it in a second here. Here's Space Dock. Where? Space Dock over there. Space Dock's over there. I'll rewind it real quick. But yeah, take a look at the Space Dock, which is over here. Right there. Look at the size of it compared to the Space Dock. This thing is huge.
Come on, Spock, it's me, McCoy. You really have gone where no man's gone before. Can't you tell me what it felt like? It would be impossible to discuss the subject without a common frame of reference. You're joking. A joke is a story with a humorous climax. You mean I don't have to die to discuss your insights on death? Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it.
I've missed this. The banter between Spock and McCoy. We haven't seen it in any of the other movies. The motion picture wasn't there. Star Trek 2, I don't even think they had a scene together. Star Trek 3, Spock was dead the whole movie. So now we got Star Trek 4, and we actually have that banter going on between them that we had in the original series, which is nice. It's one of the other reasons I like this movie. It's another reason I like Star Trek 5 too, because of the friendship between the three of them at the beginning. But yeah, this guy here with the pointy ears, him. He is one of Cybok's men in the next movie, and I'll point him out then as well. He's the bald guy that goes along with Cybok. Another thing not a lot of people know, there's Majel Barrett. I don't know if she's supposed to be Nurse Chapel there, or if she's just supposed to be another Starfleet officer. That's Majel Barrett. And of course, we all know she was married to Gene Roddenberry. She played Loxana Troi in Star Trek Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. And she's also the voice of the Federation computers. So, very important woman in Star Trek, the First Lady of Star Trek. And she's in this movie. I don't know if she's supposed to be Nurse Chapel, though, or if it's a different character. So, Now, they're talking about the probe and how it sounds underwater. It sounds like whales. Were the whales put on Earth by this species? Or did this probe just randomly come in contact with whales millions of years ago and establish communication with them and it's just back checking in? Or were they put on Earth by a race that sent this probe? Or are blue or humpback whales aliens? My guess is that the probe just randomly ran across Earth millions of years ago, looked for intelligent life, found whales, talked to them for a bit. So, just an interesting, I don't know. Here's more of the trifecta banter. Now wait just a damn minute. Time. Let's do the time warp again. Wrong movie. Here she is again. Majel Barrett. Now she did say we need that power to keep all medical and research facilities running. So maybe she's high up in the medical, Starfleet Medical, which would be my guess. So it is Nurse Chapel then. And this chick, she got awesome hair. Check out the hair. That's cool. Plus, there's a lot of good Scotty lines in this one. This really brings out Scotty's personality, just like in the original series. And this is where their transmission cuts off. Get him back, get him back. And there's this guy again, that's in Star Trek V. But no, that get him back, that's important because right here, at the end of the movie, this is where they come swooping in. So it's like no time has passed at all. It's like get them back, and all of a sudden they're right there. So that's kind of cool.
What's our target in time? Late 20th century.
This whole sequence confuses me. They're all saying lines that happen later in the movie. Is this like some kind of time warp hallucination? Ugh. They have this every time they go through time? What exactly is this? It's interesting to see, but I don't really think it represents the passage of time because it's predicting the future in a way. What's with this guy falling and going in the water? I don't know. It's a confusing segment for me, and it could have done without it, to be honest. I don't know about you, but I don't know if you've noticed this. Every time the crew gets knocked unconscious, the captain is always the first one to wake up. Why is that? Does he have some kind of special training that when I become unconscious or whatever, I wake up first? It's kind of convenient, but it's another one of those things that I just scratch my head because every time, really?
San Francisco. I was born there. Doesn't look all that different.
San Francisco. Sulu was born there. How ironic that George Takei is gay and from San Francisco. I don't know if George Takei was actually born in San Francisco. I don't believe so. But it's funny that they threw that line in there for Sulu, because Sulu obviously is not gay, the character. But not that I have a problem if he was. One of my best friends is gay. But it's just kind of funny. I don't know if Sulu insisted that or Takei insisted that line go in, because we all know that the real San Francisco treat ain't rice-a-roni. It's an ouchie bony in the bum. I don't want anybody to be offended by that. That was just a really bad joke that I just made up on the spot. And yeah, no, I have no problem with gay or homosexuals at all. I just thought I would try to make a little bit of humor there, because Sulu was born in I don't know. You get where I'm going with this, right? Don't hate me. I'm a good guy. Breakup. you look like a cadet review. One of my favorite lines. Oh, and of course, the watch where you're going, dumbass. We'll double dumbass on you. That scene just happened, but this whole cadet review thing, I use that all the time too with the kids. I'm like, kids, break it up. You look like a cadet review. The kids don't know what I'm talking about, but my wife and I get a good laugh out of it. And how cool is this? That he's selling him the glasses, and if he wouldn't have done this, McCoy never would have bought them from wherever he bought them from, and never gave them to him. Time paradoxes. Hate him. Like Janeway. Temporal mechanics just drove her crazy. Me too. A Russian, during the heart of the middle of the Cold War, asking a police officer where they keep the nuclear vessels. This always made me laugh. Nuclear vessels. People are rude, apparently. And that Alameda Naval Base is where Mythbusters do a lot of their testing now, because I believe it's totally decommissioned, the base. They do a lot of their they do a lot of their bigger tests there. I don't know if you guys watch Mythbusters. You probably do. This guy is one of the visual effects artists on the show. He wanted in, so he actually had a part in writing this song too. I hate you, and I hope you're blue too. Anyway, he's one of the judges on Jim Henson's Creature Creator, which is on Space Network now. So it's really interesting to see him as a younger punk. But interesting fact, he's done a lot of creature movies. He was responsible for the Rancor in Return of the Jedi, so he's done Star Wars and Star Trek. He's also done like Gremlins and a few other things like that. So if you watch Jim Henson's Creature Creator, keep an eye out for him. He's put on a bit of weight since then, as have I since then, but that's just a little tidbit you guys might be interested in. And of course, Dr. Jillian here, she starred in Seventh Heaven with Will Decker from the motion picture. So we have a Will Decker who merged with V'ger. He apparently ended up in Seventh Heaven, Hell, and she joined him. So you guys probably knew that though. And I never noticed this before, where she says, "What the hell?" There's a nun right there. And this scene here where they find the nuclear vessel, it's actually the USS Ranger. The Enterprise was out on service patrol during the course of this movie. So this wasn't actually the Enterprise; it was the USS Ranger. But nobody would notice that, so of course they have to make it the Enterprise because that's just freaking awesome. You need the Enterprise in this movie. I know there's one at the end. Spoiler alert, but it's cool that it's the Enterprise, even though it's not really the Enterprise. If we
play our cards right, then maybe we'll find out when those whales are leaving. How will playing cards help?
maybe if you play Fizbin with her. Remember Fizbin? It's one of my favorite scenes here about the Italian.
What do you say?
You guys like Italian?
No. No. Yes. No. Yes. I love Italian.
And so do you.
And so do you.
Yes. This scene is just full of awesomeness.
I was never told about your visit. I've tried to clear things up, Professor Scott. I explained that you come all the way here from Edinburgh on appointment to study methods of manufacturing by Plexicoil. But they don't seem to know anything about it.
They don't know anything about it. I find it hard to believe that I've traveled millions of miles, thousands of miles. It's fucking awesome. That's what I mean. This movie really lets all the characters shine, and that's what I really like about it. It's a very throwback episode to like an original series episode, and that is what I think the appeal is, and that's why a lot of people that don't like Star Trek like this movie. So if you need to get your girlfriend or anybody into Star Trek, this is a great way to start it out because it establishes characters, it establishes relationships between each other, and it's relatable because it's back in time. Of course, my favorite character, the old girl, she isn't in this one till the end, and even here's Sulu having his moment to shine with the helicopter. So, sorry, you got to watch this scene.
Back home we call him the miracle worker. Indeed. May I offer you something, gentlemen? Dr. Nichols, I might be able to offer something to you. Yeah? I notice you're still working with
More time paradox shit. If Scotty wouldn't have given him the formula for transparent aluminum, it might not have come about in Scotty's time, or it would take him longer. How do we know he didn't invent the thing?
At 60 feet by 10 feet to withstand the pressure of 18,000 cubic feet of water. Well, it's easy. 6 inches. We carried stuff that big and stop. I noticed. Now just suppose, I were to show you a way to manufacture a wall
That would do the same job, but be only 1 inch thick.
only 1 inch thick.
You're joking.
Eh? You're joking. Perhaps the professor could use your computer. Please.
Computer?
Computer.
Hello, computer.
Hello, computer. Just use the keyboard.
Keyboard. How quaint.
Keyboard. Oh, great.
Cool. Transparent aluminum? That's the ticket, laddie.
Transparent aluminum? That's the ticket, laddie. It'll take years just to figure out the dynamics.
Not now, Madeline.
Yes, but you would be rich beyond the dreams of avarice. So, is it worth something to you? Or should I just punch up clear? No. Not now, Madeline.
I love the
What exactly did you have in mind? Well, a moment alone, please.
I love the interplay between the characters. It's what really makes Star Trek Star Trek.
You realize, of course, that we give him the formula.
We'd be altering the future.
Future.
Huh? How do we know he didn't invent the bloody thing? Good point. I love McCoy, man. He's awesome. So is Scotty. They all are. They're all great. And this one really shows their good points. Tell me you would not see this if you were driving this truck. I don't know about you, but when I'm driving, I tend to check my mirrors a lot. I would have noticed that. And who's on the ship to transport them up?
Do you trust me?
And the candle. Low. High. Low.
Lucky, I guess.
High.
You're upset about losing the whales, aren't you?
Even the breadsticks don't match up. And that's evident in a lot of movies, but I had to point that out. Another interesting fact, this role of that Dr. Gillian is playing was supposed to be a guy, and it was supposed to be played by Eddie Murphy. But at the last minute, they decided that having Eddie Murphy in this might, I don't know, it's like having another big celebrity in a Star Trek movie just wouldn't be a good idea. And they decided to go a different way and make her the doctor, which I think is a good idea. I couldn't see Eddie Murphy being in this movie, first of all, let alone a doctor at the Citation Institute. So I'm glad they went this route, and one of those what if moments in cinematic history. What if Eddie Murphy had played her role? It's just weird. Makes your head spin. It's another temporal paradox. Here's another thing. Why in God's name would you beam over onto the USS Enterprise aircraft carrier, a U.S. Navy ship? Why would you beam over the Russian guy during the Cold War? Like, is that a what the fuck are you doing moment? Do they not realize the Cold War is going on? Maybe they don't. Legit. Uhura might be able to get away with it. Why not send Scotty? Why not send McCoy? Somebody that's not Russian. Because that looks a little bad, don't you think? And I don't know about you guys. I know about the Temporal Prime Directive and a lot of bullshit. But I would have shown her my ship. It would make this whole thing go a lot smoother. Here's my ship. I need the radio frequencies. None of this running around. Oh, I don't know if I believe you bullshit. And something like that, I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? I'd go back and say, look, I'm not leaving until you show yourself. Kind of like she does later. But yeah, if I was Kirk, I would have shown her around the ship. Whatever. Screw that temporal prime directive bullshit. It would solve so many problems if they just told people the truth and like proved it. Of course, it would be embarrassing to show her the ship and be like, this isn't really my ship. My ship's much nicer. It's just destroyed. It's like the one day you drive your beater car and you're at a stoplight. Like I've got a Dodge Caravan and a '79 Camaro. So it's like me taking the minivan out, sitting in a light, and a Mustang or something pulls up beside me. It's like, I'm embarrassed because I'm driving a minivan. My other car's a Camaro. It's like, sure, buddy, sure it is. No, it's kind of one of those situations. I'd be embarrassed to show her the ship too, considering it smells like Klingon. But trust me, this isn't really my ship. My ship is much nicer. And the inconvenient transporters aren't working bullshit happens all the time. It's a convenient plot device. Nothing more. Really, if they're that unreliable, I wouldn't be using the fucking things every day. Seriously? You can only beam them out one at a time. How convenient. Or, I guess I should say, how inconvenient. And if you notice too, Chekhov's outfit isn't the same as it was in Star Trek 3. So he must have changed clothes while he was on Vulcan. Everyone else was wearing what they were wearing, but he had that stupid Quaker outfit on, and it's changed quite significantly since Star Trek 3. And now we're about to get some... Oh, wait a minute, that's later. I was going to say we're going to have some hilarious chase music, but that comes up later. Stun me. Another convenient or inconvenient thing. Ridiculous. Must be the radiation. He should have just like stunned them all and got the fuck out of there. Whatever, it makes for good music. Here's the chase scene music I was talking about. I love the music in this Star Trek. It's very uplifting and humorous. And of course, Chekhov, being the closest thing we have in these movies to a red shirt, always gets the short end of the stick. Motion picture, he had his hand burned. In Star Trek 2, he had the thing in his ear. Here he falls and almost dies. Must suck being a main character, but not like a second stage main character. You know what I'm saying? I gotta point this out too. See this part here where it's like land up and there's like that little bit of water. Earlier when we first saw the whale tank, there was a hump going like this in that section. I don't think that would have been legit. The whole having them in captivity is a little bit sketchy too. I don't think it's even possible. You would need such a huge enclosure. That thing just doesn't cut it. I just had a thought. Going back to the Kirks, this isn't my ship. I'm kind of embarrassed to show you this ship. My ship much nicer. You should have a bumper sticker on that thing that says my other starship is a Constitution class heavy cruiser. And how did he rent this helicopter or borrow it without showing them like a valid helicopter pilot's license? I'm not just going to trust some random dude that's like, yeah, I know how to fly this stuff. Takes me back to the old days. You have to be pretty ballsy to say, alright, here dude, take my helicopter. I trust you 100%. I would want to see at least some qualifications. Something, you know what I mean? Or even a proof of address, like a driver's license or something, so that I know if you steal my goddamn helicopter, I know who you are or where you live. Just seems a little bit odd that he got the use of that helicopter, don't you think? Oh, I gotta rewind that scene, sorry. Where she runs into the ship. Ow. First of all, that would hurt. Second of all, she's a mime. Just kidding. And how freaky would this be, being Jillian? All of a sudden you feel this tingling and go, ah! Her scream is totally legit. This would just be the freakiest feeling ever. I love it. Why couldn't they have a probe that was looking to speak to Chewies? She'd help. Wouldn't you? It'd be easier to beam aboard a ship. This is Dot. If you've watched some of my other videos, you've seen her. Right? Say hello to these people. Who's that? Yeah, she doesn't know to look at the iPad. And they're shit lucky that Chekhov didn't die immediately when he fell. This is just awesome. Gives her a pill to regrow her kidney.
What's the matter with you?
Kidney dialysis.
Dialysis. God, what is this, the Dark Ages? Here. Do you swallow that? If you have any problems, just call me.
Is it just odd to you that he has a pill that can regrow organs in his medical bag?
Let's go.
Maybe not. I don't know. But it just seems a little bit convenient to me. I love this scene where Chekhov wakes up too. This Star Trek movie makes me smile a lot. It makes me laugh. That's why it's one of my favorites.
He's coming around, Jim. Talk to me.
Name, rank.
Rank.
Chekhov.
Power.
Rank.
Rank.
Captain.
Admiral.
Admiral. Sorry, I thought you said captain there. That's funny.
You came in with a sheet.
Little mistake. And here we go with the chase music again. Why? Because it's awesome. That's why. Come on now. Do the Star Trek 4 dance with me. I'm embarrassing myself, aren't I? Doctor gave me a pill and I grew a new kidney. And now all of a sudden the transporters are working fine. They're not on minimal power. See? She got a new kidney. Now, of course, the transporters are working fine, so they can beam up like 4 people at a time, get them out of the elevator just on time. Whereas earlier, when it would have been more convenient, they were minimum power. Ah! I just hate when they do things like that. It's frustrating. This scene here, everybody else just walked up the ramp into the ship. This line that he says, Scotty beam me up, never said in Star Trek history. Until now. They thought they'd throw that in there. Because it's always been Scotty beam me up. And it's never been said once. Till now. They also just said they have to go to the Bering Sea. Now the whales left earlier in the day. How did they get the whales from San Francisco, California to the Bering Sea so quick? I understand that the spaceship can get there fairly quick, but how did they do it transporting the whales? And the poor bastards on this whaling boat. Could you imagine having a day at the office like this? Got a whale in your sights, just about to launch your harpoon, and it dings off of just air. And then this huge ass ship decloaks above your boat. It's like watching an episode of Deadliest Catch and seeing a UFO decloak above the ship or something. It's kind of neat. I just can't imagine what these guys would be thinking. And then the guy's cranking on the wheel as hard as he can. It's just funny as hell. Ding. Like, what the hell? Oh, damn. Yeah. Look at this guy. They're both trying to steer the boat faster. That's just too funny, man. I love this movie. And now the transporters not only have... I know they recrystallized the diaphragm crystals. I understand that. But now they have enough transporter power to beam up 2 humpback whales and a shit ton of water. That's gotta be like... And then for it to... You can hear the stretching of the metal and stuff. Can you imagine how hard that would be on the ship? How much stress it'd be under? There'd be whales here. The poor whales, they got nowhere to move around. And here we go. Back to the future, baby. Gotta get back in time. Do, 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 do. I gotta stop singing and dancing. It's just embarrassing. And this time when we start around the sun, we don't get some trippy, funky, predicting the future vision hallucination. I can't even speak today. Hallucinations. There we go. We don't get that. And also there's a probe, so they lose power. And it's like, get him back, get him back. And then it's like, look, there he is. So that'd be cool. Like, the instant you lose him and you think, we've got to get him back, all of a sudden you see the ship come in to save your ass. That's awesome, man. They're there. That's cool. And this scene here, Kirk is holding his breath for an extraordinary amount of time, especially considering his physical exertion on that lever and whatnot. I think I tried to hold my breath for that quite a few times watching it. I think every time I would have died. So Kirk, see, he's still holding his breath and he's blowing out all these bubbles too. Like, I'd be dead by now. But he is Kirk after all. What would Kirk do? And think about these poor damn whales. They're in a sea or an ocean that has no other whales in it. Well, at least humpback whales. Nobody to talk to. They're sentient beings. They're going to be like lonely. They got each other. They're going to have a baby. They might have 1 or 2 more babies. I don't know how many babies humpback whales have. But are the babies going to mate together? Because I don't know if that makes for good breeding stock. I don't think that's good with the genetic patterns. You don't just need like varied DNA samples to create a viable culture or a viable species. You can't just go from Well, I guess the Adam and Eve thing, if you buy that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Leave your ideas and thoughts in the comments below. Another thing is it just me, or does this thing sort of looks like it was made by the same culture that made the Doomsday Machine? Just an oversized, huge, cylindrical shaped thing that has kind of a rough surface. And then, yay, it's better. All the weather's changed back to normal. The whales are swimming away, breaching, and everybody jumps in the water. Correct me if I'm wrong. Does San Francisco Bay not have sharks? It's one of the reasons they had Alcatraz there. Maybe all the sharks are extinct too. How many animals did we kill? I don't know about you, but I don't know if it'd be safe. Feel safe jumping in that water with the sharks. And why has that bird of prey not sunk yet? Can't be holding just the right amount of air in there to keep it buoyant. And here comes the rescue. Yay! Kirk and company saved the day again. This is cool too, seeing the trial. How they go through the list of charges and they're all dropped except for one aimed at Kirk.
Bring in the accused. Captain Spock, you do not stand accused. Mr. President, I stand with my shipmates. As you wish.
Here's the list of charges.
The charges and specifications are conspiracy, assault on Federation officers, theft of Federation property, namely the Starship Enterprise, sabotage on the USS Excelsior, willful destruction of Federation property, specifically the aforementioned USS Enterprise, and finally, disobeying direct orders of the Starfleet commander. Admiral Kirk, how do you plead?
On behalf of all of us, Mr. President, I'm authorized to plead guilty.
So ended. Because of certain mitigating circumstances,
I'd say there were mitigating
all
circumstances.
charges but one are summarily dismissed. The remaining charge, disobeying orders of a superior officer, is directed solely at Admiral Kirk. I'm sure the Admiral will recognize the necessity
And of course, his punishment is to go down to captain,
I do so.
which is what he always wanted anyway. Never wanted to be an
It is
admiral.
the judgment of this council that you
After he got the job, I mean.
rank to captain. And that as a consequence of your new rank, you'll be given the duties for which you have repeatedly demonstrated unswerving ability. The command
So
of the Starship.
they get a starship again. Tell me that Temporal Investigations wasn't pissed, not only about this mission, but about them bringing Jillian back to the future. Because now she's a rogue element, so to speak. She's assigned to a science vessel, but Temporal Investigations must be pissed. I know they're pissed at Kirk generally because he's their biggest violator, but bringing someone back from the future, or from the past? So here's where they're going to find their new ship. Or see what their ship is going to be. Now, there's one or two little things I want to talk about here.
Excelsior.
Why in God's name would you want that bucket of bolts?
Whatever you say, son.
Thy will be done.
Will be done.
And it looks like we're going to the Excelsior. Now tell me, you think it's possible to hide a Constitution class ship behind that ship and not see it? It seems a little sketchy to me. But it's a cool reveal. Like here we're heading for the Excelsior. And there she is. NCC 1701A. Now, originally this ship was being built to be the USS Yorktown. But because of mitigating circumstances and Kirk getting a new command, they renamed her Enterprise and gave it the distinction of having its original registry number with the A prefix or suffix. The after the A, you know. And this bridge looks cool too, and there she goes. So, I've also heard, I heard a few years ago that the Enterprise A was such a modification from the original refit that since it was named Enterprise, they named the rest of the ships in that class Enterprise class. Anything that was built after the Constitution class ships were refitted. So if you had an original Constitution class like this and you refitted it, it's still a Constitution class. But if you build one from scratch, like you did with this one, it's so different in design that it actually, because of this incident, they renamed the class Enterprise class. So there's Constitution class refits and Enterprise class, which aren't refits because they're built that way. So they're the same design, but there's so much different going on inside. I don't remember where I read that, but that was years ago. If anybody knows about that, let me know. Leave the comments in the box below. I appreciate all your comments and input. I've had a lot of positive input on these videos, and I'm going to be doing all the movies, maybe even some of the series, I don't know. But I'm going to do this in addition to my model building and all my other craziness that I have on my channel. So please like, subscribe, and stay awesome, guys. This is Captain Foley signing off. Bye-bye.